Part 8. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 71. Standing in military posture for 30 minutes under the scorching sun in Shanghai is not a pleasant experience. Originally, he did not want to participate in this military training, but once again, he could talk about campus love, have a heart-to-heart talk with the school belle, exchange human body structure, admire the moon with his senior sister, go exploring in the woods. As for those who have military training, forget it. Now that he was being deliberately targeted, Li Yuan was irritated. He had an idea and thought of a way to avoid military training. Maybe he could give it a try. He retorted loudly. Instructor, why should I only be punished? This is not fair. Zhang Zhen did not expect that Li Yuan, a soft persimmon, would dare to refute his orders and refute his own majesty, and he immediately displayed his military power. Just because I'm an instructor, if you don't accept it, we can argue. Zhang Zhen could already roughly guess Li Yuan's reaction. Incompetent rage? Obediently, I stood in military posture for 30 minutes under the scorching sun. He was still angry, accepted his challenge angrily, and then was severely defeated and humiliated by himself. In every military training, there will be some self-righteousness among the students. As a military training instructor, how can you lead the team well if you don't have two brushes? Li Yuan was angry and was about to lose his temper. When he saw the instructor wanted to compete with him, he thought that his physical fitness would be greatly enhanced after his rebirth. His heart was filled with excitement and he immediately agreed. With his physical fitness, if he really wins, he will be justified in not having to participate in military training anymore. Li Yuan took a step forward and walked directly out of the queue. Under the shocked eyes of other students, he looked directly at Instructor Zhang. I agree. Instructor Zhang, how do you compete and what are the rewards? As soon as Li Yuan said this, not only Zhang Zhen was stunned, but other boys in the military training team also whispered. Lu Jia was also in the vanguard. He was sitting in the back row of Li Yuan. He was stunned and cursed, damn it, boss Li Yuan, you are too brave. You dare to compete directly with the military training instructor. Wu Hao also widened his eyes in disbelief. Instructor Zhang Zhen is not easy to mess with at first glance. With his muscular outline and physical fitness, Li Yuan will most likely lose miserably and be killed to scare the monkeys. Yi Jing said worriedly, Li Yuan seems to have been in a bad mood from last night to today. He was silent and cold early in the morning. Why did he have a conflict with the instructor? Lu Jia was secretly glad that he had made two mistakes. Brother Yuan is not entirely to blame. He was somewhat targeted by Instructor Zhang today. Zhang Zhengzheng looked at Li Yuan with a sneer and sneered, Li Yuan, right? You are really brave. What kind of bonus do you want? Li Yuan said, Instructor Zhang, if I win, I can be more free in future military training. You can leave me alone, okay? Zhang Zheng continued to ask with a sneer, then what if you lose? Chapter 79 Push UPS. I can make 500, second update, please subscribe. Li Yuan snorted coldly, Instructor Zhang, if I lose, I will be punished by you. It's a deal, let me see if your strength is as good as your courage. Zhang Zheng sneered in his heart. These military training instructors are all trained. Although they are not special forces in the army, they still train all year round. They are not comparable to ordinary students. If Li Yuan were a sports student from one of those sports colleges, he might still be able to compete. He shouted slogans towards other students. All of them, turn right, look forward, stand at attention, take a break. Wu Hao, Yi Jing, Lu Jia, and other 99 students from Class 1 and Class 2 of Computer Science and other majors, except Li Yuan, all calmed down and waited to see the show unfold. In particular, Lu Jia, Wu Hao, Ren Jun, Kui Wei and other classmates who often played basketball with Li Yuan were extremely looking forward to whether Li Yuan could really challenge the authority of the military training instructors, and they were whispering about it. Guess, how will Li Yuan compare with instructor Zhang? It goes without saying that it's either push UPS or pull UPS. It's impossible to do military boxing directly. Push UPS are so difficult. I can only do more than 20 standard push UPS. If I do more, I won't be able to hold on. As for pull UPS, I can only do 3 or 4. Li Yuan is also very muscular and very strong. I played with him the afternoon before yesterday. His strength was like a tank. He could barely dunk. His strength must be at the level of the school team. He is better than the average sports student. Not weak. Hey, these military training instructors always like to use chicken feathers as command arrows. He is deliberately targeting Li Yuan. It would be great if Li Yuan can make him embarrassed. I really hope that Li Yuan can make an upset. Isn't he just an instructor? He has no heirs. I heard that there used to be military training instructors who made the bellies of military training girls bigger during military training, and then they didn't want to take responsibility. Haha, this is too common. I have seen several such incidents in the forum. This kind of thing happens in every school. It is not uncommon. Some instructors regard military training as a way to pick up girls. Place. If Li Yuan can really defeat instructor Zhang, then I will have to call him Brother Yuan when I see him. Zhang Zheng looked at Li Yuan, who looked unruly, sneered in his heart, and shouted angrily at Li Yuan and the other students who were watching. As a WJ officer and soldier, in addition to various military skills, the most important thing is to rely on my own physical fitness. And physical fitness mainly depends on day and night, diligent training. Dear students, we all know that the most effective ways to exercise physical fitness are squats, sit UPS, push UPS, pull UPS, justs, etc. Today, this classmate is very brave. He is the 6th classmate who dares to take the initiative to compete with me in so many years since I participated in university military training. Although the top 5 lost miserably, we must dare to carry forward this dazzling sword spirit. Let us give this classmate a little applause and encouragement. After instructor Zhang Zheng finished speaking, he took the lead in applauding, and other students also applauded and cheered for Li Yuan. Li Yuan listened to the applause and couldn't help but take a deep look at instructor Zhang Zheng. This guy has something. It reminded him of all the times he was pooed in the workplace in his previous life. Does this mean you have absolute confidence? Can you control me? Haha, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you. I'm no ordinary weakling. Li Yuan's calm eyes suddenly showed a competitive mentality. As the saying goes, he possesses a sharp weapon and has a murderous intention. After his rebirth, perhaps due to some special reasons, his physical fitness and memory have been greatly enhanced. Therefore, he did not have the slightest fear of the instructor in front of him. In his previous life, he was severely beaten by society and taught various ways to behave. Forced to do nothing, he could only lie down, humble himself, and work hard without complaining. But it doesn't mean that he still has the same turtle mentality in his previous life, where it is better to do less than to do more. It just so happened that he was also extremely confident in his own strength. It's a mule or a horse, pull it out and have a head-to-head contest. Instructor Zhang Zheng rolled up his sleeves, looked at Li Yuan with sharp eyes, and spoke directly, explaining the rules of the competition. Your name is Li Yuan, right? You are very courageous. Let's compete on the simplest thing, doing push UPS. Whoever can do the most standard push UPS within 10 minutes will win. Li Yuan said calmly, I have no objection. Zhang Zheng was too lazy to talk nonsense and said directly, let's start. This classmate will time the time, and the other students will count. After saying that, he crawled on the ground in a standard push-up posture, and explained various techniques of push UPS with interest. Every student has done push UPS. It can exercise the muscles of the upper limbs, waist, and abdomen, especially the chest muscles. It is a very simple but very effective strength training method. The standard push-up action, arms straight and shoulder width apart, hands on the ground pointing forward, torso and legs straight, forming a straight line from shoulders to ankles, a move like mine. After Zhang Zheng finished speaking, he looked at Li Yuan again and asked, "Are you ready?" Li Yuan nodded without saying anything. He took off his camouflage uniform and exposed the camouflage vest. He lay side by side with Zhang Zheng, lying on his stomach, and also did a standard push-up. In the past 2 months since his rebirth, he has devoted more than an hour every day to physical training such as push UPS, sit UPS, and squats. The body is the capital of revolution. Now that he has the opportunity brought by rebirth, he does not want to imitate the boss and die young at a young age, leaving behind hundreds of millions of property and a beautiful wife and daughter for other men to take care of. The countdown to the game begins. When the timer started, Li Yuan and Zhang Zheng started doing push UPS almost at the same time. As the competition progressed, the students in the military training team all talked quietly, and some secretly retrieved their mobile phones to take photos. Li Yuan indeed has 2 brushes. His push-up posture is the same as that of instructor Zhang. I am so jealous of all these muscles. He even has 6-pack abs. How did Li Yuan train? Damn it, their speed and frequency are too fast. In less than a minute, instructor Zhang and Li Yuan have already done 50 push UPS. Made, it's been 3 minutes. Instructor Zhang has done 198 reps, and Li Yuan has done 195 reps. They are really inhuman, and they can even compare with athletes. I can understand the instructor's speed, but Li Yuan, why does he do it? Ah! Li Yuan is really awesome. He can actually be on par with instructor Zhang. Even if he loses in the end, he will be able to walk away from Arcia University in the future. Li Yuan loses. It's not necessarily certain. Did you notice that Li Yuan's aura is very stable, which shows that he still has some strength left? It's really awesome. It's been 5 minutes and I've done nearly 300 push UPS. Instructor Jiang's speed is getting slower and slower. Li Yuan is about to overtake. After 5 minutes of high-intensity exercise, Li Yuan already felt exhausted. Such high-intensity push-up training consumes a lot of physical energy. However, he can persist. This time, I want to see where my limits are. 303, 304, 305. Zhang Zheng, the instructor standing next to Li Yuan, was also sweating profusely, but was approaching his limit. Zhang Zheng glanced at Li Yuan out of the corner of his eye and saw that he could still keep up with his pace. He was secretly surprised. Made, this Li Yuan, could he be a sports student? I remember that he was in the computer and software design class. Among the girls in computer class 1, Xia's Haijin was taking a short rest under the shade of a tree. The military training instructor's training for girls was much less intense than that for boys. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 72. Xia's Haijin took out a plastic water cup from her old backpack and took a sip of water. From the corner of her eye, she secretly looked at the other girls in the class. They were all gathered in groups, but she was the only one sitting alone in the corner. Middle. She has been accustomed to this lifestyle since she was a child. It's good to be alone without anyone paying attention. While drinking boiled water, Xia's Haijin couldn't help but think about everything that happened yesterday, like a dream, which made her feel very unreal. But the new mobile phone worth several $1,000s in the backpack proves that all of this is really happening. Which team is he in? Is he tired from training? Xia's Haijin looked at the playground. The dense military training for freshmen made it difficult for her to find Li Yuan. Suddenly, roommate Shen Ziyu came to Xia's Haijin and showed her her cell phone. Haijin, look here, there is breaking news. Xia's Haijin was very happy when she saw Shen Ziyu coming over. This is because after entering college, apart from Li Yuan, the roommate who cared about her the most was also her only friend at the moment. She thought so. Xia's Haijin asked curiously, Ziyu, what happened? Shen Ziyu clicked on a video from the class group and played it to Xia's Haijin. Haijin, look who this boy is. Xia's Haijin looked at the figure doing push UPS on the screen, and immediately recognized who it was. It was the boy she was thinking about just now. Xia's Haijin's cheeks felt a little hot. She looked at her roommate who was smiling but not smiling, and asked in a low voice, what is he doing? Shen Ziyu said with a smile, the handsome guy Li Yuan is competing with their instructor in push UPS. I heard from the boys in our class that Li Yuan has done 400 push UPS in a row. Compared with their military training instructors, he is not far behind. He is really a man. Xia's Haijin was also stunned. Is Li Yuan really that powerful? Wasn't he very gentle yesterday? Shen Ziyu looked at Xia's Haijin and asked doubtfully, Haijin, don't you have a mobile phone? Didn't you read the group messages? Xia's Haijin shook her head shyly, I haven't joined the class group yet. Shen Ziyu, that's easy. I'll pull you in and you can see it. By the way, let's add QQ friends first. Where's your phone? Give it to me. Xia's Haijin hesitated slightly and carefully took out the brand new Nokia N95 mobile phone from her backpack, as if she was caring for a treasure. This is indeed a treasure to her. The price of a mobile phone is equivalent to her living expenses for a long, long time. Shen Ziyu couldn't stop giggling, Haijin, your phone is really beautiful. It is indeed the latest model this year. Hurry up and give me your phone. Add a friend first, and then I'll add you to the class group. Xia's Haijin looked hesitant and said hesitantly, I want to ask his opinion. Shen Ziyu's eyes widened and he asked speechlessly. Hey, Haijin, I just added a friend and joined the class group. You still want to ask his opinion? Chapter 80, Received Priority in Choosing a Spouse, 3rd update, please subscribe. Xia's Haijin lowered his head shyly, not knowing how to explain. When Li Yuan gave her the mobile phone, he said that this mobile phone was lent to her by the company for work. 11 Can I ask for his opinion? Haijin, isn't it? You add a friend, join a class group, and you still need to ask for Li Yuan's opinion. Shen Ziyu was stunned and speechless. In the tone of a love expert, he held her hand and gave her a sincere admonition. Haijin, you are just too naive. Let me tell you, don't care so much about men. You can't be so easy to deceive, you must know how to handle it. Don't make men think you are easy to chase and can easily catch up, you must keep giving they set tests and let them show their attitude. The more they pay, the more they will cherish you. This is called sunk cost. Moreover, in the process of dating, you must pay attention to keeping a distance and not be available at any time. That will make you look cheap, you must learn to play hard to get. When replying to messages, do not reply immediately. Occasionally, you must lose your temper to let others know. Boys come to coax you, sometimes, you have to learn to act coquettishly from time to time. Women who act coquettishly have the best luck. Shen Ziyu eloquently taught Xia's Haijin her love experience, which made Xia's Haijin's little head feel dizzy. After Shen Ziyu finished speaking, Xia's Haijin asked sincerely, Ziyu, you have so much experience in love, have you ever been in love before? Shen Ziyu's pretty face turned red when she was asked, and she explained guiltily, Haijin, although I have never been in love, I have read many romance novels and it is written like this in the novels. We girls are all treasures descended from heaven to the world. Each one of us is an angel. If those stinky men want to chase us, we must not let them succeed easily. Men become bad when they have money. If it is too easy to get, they will not cherish it. Zhaijin, you must remember this, don't let Li Yuan get it so quickly. Xia Zhaijin heard the word succeed and her heart tightened. She lowered her head and asked softly, 11U, what does success mean? Shenziu looked stunned, her pretty face turned red, and she hesitated and didn't know how to speak. Although she has read a lot of romance novels, she is really ashamed to talk about things about men and women because she doesn't know much about them. She only knows theory but not practice. That's it, a special event between men and women, how can I tell you about it? Zhaijin, in short, you just have to protect yourself and don't easily listen to Li Yuan's sweet words. Xia Zhaijin replied shyly, well, Ziu, thank you. When Shen Ziu looked at Xia Zhaijin's flawless face, she couldn't feel any jealousy in her heart. Instead, she felt like she wanted to appreciate this beauty. She grabbed Xia Zhaijin's soft, boneless hands and placed them on her own. Looking at her delicate face in the palm of his hand, he said with envy. Zhaijin, you are so beautiful and outstanding. If other boys know about it, your pursuers will be lined up from bamboo garden to orchid garden. There are not only 1,000 but also 800. Remember, you must not take advantage of Li Yuan in vain. Xia Zhaijin lowered her head shyly, 11U, Li Yuan, he is also quite good. Li Yuan was very patient with her, taking her to eat, shopping, treating her to milk tea, and taking care of her self-esteem. The most important point is that Li Yuan is still her boss and has already paid her salary in advance. Shenziu, Zhaijin, you are not a lover, are you? Xia Zhaijin looked confused. It was obvious that she didn't know what love brain meant. Shenziu felt tired. Just when she was about to explain, she suddenly thought, why should she be someone else's strategist if she has never been in love? This is about to go to the battlefield. When encountering an enemy with rich actual combat experience like Li Yuan, how can he not be fooled? Forget it, let's not talk about it anymore, you should just let nature take its course. As for Li Yuan, he is actually quite good. Xia Zhaijin said softly. Shenziu scrolled through the latest group messages on her phone, with an extremely shocked expression on her face, and muttered to herself, he actually won. Xia Zhaijin asked shyly, 11U, Li Yuan, he. Shenziu showed Xia Zhaijin the group message sent by Lucia, her tone still shocked. The latest news, just now, the results of the competition came out. Li Yuan did 455 push UPS in 10 minutes. The instructor did 442. Li Yuan won the competition. This Li Yuan is so physically fit that he was able to beat the military training instructor. It's too exaggerated. Upon hearing this, Xia Zhaijin asked worriedly, Li Yuan, is he okay? Shenziu said angrily, how can it be okay? I'm probably tired. Xia Zhaijin suddenly stood up, raised her head, and looked towards the boys' formation, as if she was looking for something, her eyes full of worry. Shenziu looked at the scene and suddenly felt a little envious in his heart. Who doesn't want to have a sweet love? Just like a boy like Li Yuan, regardless of the stereotypes about the different positions of men and women, he is really excellent. Li Yuan is in such great shape, I don't know if Zhaijin's thin little body will be able to withstand it in the future. In the boys' military training formation, Li Yuan was panting from exhaustion. Although he was not lying on the ground, he was exhausted. Instructor Zhang Zhen was not much better. He sat there blankly, his arms hanging down, his legs trembling, as if he had just taken a shower, and big beads of sweat kept dripping on the asphalt road. Zhang Zhen looked at Li Yuan, not at all angry about losing the game. Instead, he gave Li Yuan a thumbs up. He panted and praised. Li Yuan, good job. With your physical fitness, it would be a pity not to become a soldier. Do you want to consider joining the army to train and hopefully become a special forces soldier? Li Yuan couldn't help but glance at Zhang Zheng. The bloody plot he imagined did not happen. Thank you, Instructor Zhang, for your kindness. I'm a wild person and can't stand the constraints of the army. Zhang Zheng chuckled, but did not try to persuade him. If he could be admitted to the 985 Daxia University, Li Yuan's future achievements would not be much lower. Mr. Zhang Zheng, say that a horse cannot be chased. From now on, you can move around freely every day. You don't need to ask for leave. If anything happens, I will take care of it for you. Of course, as your military training instructor, I still recommend that you experience college military training life. After all, this is only once in your life. Li Yuan nodded, without saying whether to leave or stay. After a push-up exercise that exceeded his limit, his inner irritability dissipated a lot. Sure enough, every man will enter sage mode after a hearty battle. After a while, Zhang Zheng stood up tremblingly, looked at the other students who were talking about each other, and said seriously, "No matter who the other students in our team are, as long as they are confident that they can achieve Li Yuan's level, I can give you a leave. Of course, the conditions are not unconditional. If you lose, you will have to accept the punishment twice as much." What is the specific punishment? Haha, you just need to know that it will be very exciting and unforgettable for your whole life. As soon as this statement came out, the discussion became even more intense. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 73. Li Yuan is a pervert. He can do 455 standard push UPS, which is really awesome. Who can compare with him? However, Instructor Zhang does have some tolerance and is willing to admit defeat. Oh my god, I can't even do 50 standard push UPS, let alone 455. I'd better train honestly. I envy Li Yuan, he doesn't have to participate in military training. Li Yuan will be happy now. He doesn't need to ask for leave. He can run away and go back to the dormitory alone to play games, blow on the fan and sleep. We are so miserable and can only enjoy the ravages of the scorching sun here. If you have his ability and courage, you can challenge Instructor Zhang. If you win, you can be like Li Yuan. Who the hell dares? If I go to provoke him, I'm afraid I'll be tortured to death by Instructor Zhang. I'm quite curious, what Instructor Zhang will do to Li Yuan if he loses. It's brutal. It's so brutal. Li Yuan's physical fitness is invincible in basketball. Haha, I'm Tui, you only think about playing basketball, do you know what I think of? It's the first right to choose a spouse. Li Yuan will get the first right to choose a spouse in college. Mad, I really envy him, he is tall and handsome. It doesn't matter if you have money, why should your health be so good and last so long? Gangzi, is it possible that endurance has nothing to do with physical fitness? Haha, do you believe it yourself? Li Yuan took a rest and did not choose to return to the team. He spoke to Instructor Zhang and left directly. Now that you have obtained the privilege, you would be a fool not to take advantage of it. If the rights are not used, they will become invalid upon expiration. It's okay to experience the military training career once in your previous life. Li Yuan was about to go back to the dormitory. When passing by the girls' formation, he deliberately slowed down and looked for the figure that made his heart beat yesterday among the dense camouflage uniforms. As a celebrity in Computer Class 1, the fact that Li Yuan won the martial arts competition with the instructor has been widely circulated among the class, and it has even begun to spread rapidly like a multiplication. Jaime, look, it's Li Yuan from our class. I heard that he defeated the military training instructor in the push-up competition. Looking at his figure, he is indeed very strong. Wow, he is Li Yuan. I heard his name yesterday. He is from computer class 1. I heard he was chasing a girl and he won her the same day. This is Li Yuan. He is indeed very stylish. He is tall, rich, and handsome, and he is also a sportsman. This young lady is a little moved. Li Yuan passed by the team where the girls from computer class 1 were, and immediately caused a commotion. Under the shade of a tree in the corner, Shen Ziu touched Xia's Haijin and reminded Haijin, Li Yuan is looking here and there, as if he's looking for you. Do you want to come up and say hello? He looked over, and he was indeed here to find you. Xia's Haijin secretly looked at Li Yuan walking over from the corner of her eye. She felt a little nervous and her body straightened up. She wanted to ask him if he was injured, but she didn't dare to act. Li Yuan walked up to Xia's Haijin and looked at her in camouflage uniform. He took out his mobile phone from his pocket, found the right angle, clicked and took a photo of Xia's Haijin, which made Xia's Haijin lower his head shyly. Today's mobile phone pixels are very average, but digital cameras are better to use, Li Yuan said with a smile. Xia's Haijin blushed and said, Li Yuan, can you please don't shoot me? Li Yuan sat next to her without any hesitation and showed her the photo he had just taken. Haijin, there is only one military training for college freshmen. You must record these beautiful moments and keep them as memories. You also have a mobile phone, so you can ask classmate Shen Ziu to take more pictures of you. After listening to what Li Yuan said, the dog-headed military advisor Shen Ziu couldn't help but look at him high and agreed with him in his heart. But thinking that Xia's Haijin was so timid that she didn't even dare to add her own QQ, I couldn't help but fight for her. Classmate Li Yuan, are you being too lenient? Li Yuan showed a question mark face. It feels very strange. Classmate Shen, I don't seem to understand what you are talking about. Just when Shen Ziu was about to say something about seeking justice for Xia's Haijin beside her quickly explained. Li Yuan, it's like this. Ziu wants to add me to QQ. I think I need to ask for your opinion. After all, you are. Xia's Haijin didn't say the last two words because Li Yuan mentioned it yesterday. Don't expose him for starting a company and being the boss for the time being. After listening to Xia's Haijin's explanation, Li Yuan couldn't help stroking his forehead and sighing. He looked at Xia's Haijin, who was embarrassed and seemed to have done something wrong, and a special feeling came to his heart. This treasure girl is too simple. He said gently, Haijin, you don't need to think so much, that's your phone, you make the decision yourself. After saying that, Li Yuan made a patch unconsciously. By the way, Haijin, girls can join, but boys, try not to join. If any boys join you, they must have bad intentions. They are all guys with ulterior motives. Xia's Haijin nodded gently, oh, I understand. Shen Ziu teased and secretly said from the side, hey, Li Yuan, so's Haijin must only add you and not other boys, right? The other boys are all harboring evil intentions, but you are the only one who is pure and pure, right? You must have a sense of crisis and be kind to Haijin. Otherwise, when her beauty is discovered by other boys, you will definitely have a lot more competitors. Li Yuan chuckled and did not refute. Shen Ziu said it right. The reason why no other boys have pursued Xia's Haijin is simply because, first, Xia's Haijin deliberately hides herself, being too low-key, walking with her head down, and wearing very simple clothes. The second is that when she first arrived at school, the other boys had only known each other for such a short period of time that no one had noticed her magical appearance yet, so he was the first to take advantage of her. Li Yuan glanced at her with beads of sweat on her forehead and reminded her gently. Haijin, military training is hard, hot, and tiring. You should take good care of your skin. Don't be reluctant to use the cosmetics you bought yesterday, and be careful not to get tanned. I, I can't tan. Xia's Haijin stared at Li Yuan shyly. Li Yuan was stunned for a moment, and after thinking about it, it seemed that it was true. Xia's Haijin would definitely not be willing to use those expensive cosmetics, which at most were Dabao Sod honey and the like, but her skin was no worse than Biwaxi and the others. This can only be explained by natural beauty. Li Yuan smiled and said, haha, using it always has some effect. Haijin, if you use it, your skin will become better. Yeah, Xia's Haijin replied shyly. Her roommates had helped her learn about the prices of those cosmetics last night. Anyway, they were sky-high prices that she had never dared to imagine. Based on the remuneration she received from her previous part-time job in the school cafeteria, that set of cosmetics alone would have been enough for her to work for a whole year before she could barely afford it. Li Yuan wanted to continue chatting with Xia's Haijin. Suddenly, the whistle sounded, and Xia's Haijin's girls' team began to assemble. Li Yuan said reluctantly, Haijin, I'll leave first. Shenziu asked doubtfully, Li Yuan, are you not participating in military training? Xia's Haijin also looked puzzled. Li Yuan chuckled, I made a bet with the instructor. If I beat him, I can arrange my time freely. Shenziu gave a thumbs up, Li Yuan, you are so awesome. I don't want military training either. Li Yuan checked the time. It was already 11 o'clock in the morning. He told Xia's Haijin. Haijin, after the training is over, have a good meal with classmate Shen and the others, and don't go to that place again, do you understand? Xia's Haijin looked at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes and nodded shyly. She understood what Li Yuan meant. Yesterday, Li Yuan had already advanced her 1-month salary in advance. Well, thank you. Chapter 81 New book published, feelings gradually warming up. Chen Ziu looked at the scene filled with the rotten smell of love and joked. Li Yuan, stop showing off your affection, Haijin not only has you, but also me. Li Yuan looked at Chen Ziu sincerely, then I'll trouble you, Mr. Shen. Chen Ziu pursed her lips and smiled and said, you should leave quickly. I'm afraid that if you wait a little longer, a girl will come and ask you for your contact information. Li Yuan glanced around and realized that there were indeed many girls around, all staring at him. This time, he is really famous. Haijin, I'm leaving. I'll call you when you have time. Yes, Yaz Haijin nodded shyly. After returning to the dormitory, Li Yuan felt completely relaxed. It was always a good thing to escape military training. Although the method used was a bit bloody, it was still easier than cutting out the appendix or the second brother's skin. If you really want to waste your precious time on military training, how much less money will you make? It will be 70,000 to 80,000 yuan a day. Moreover, these 2 weeks of free time were enough for him to complete his preliminary business plan. Currently, the company is still being renovated, and the official renovation will probably be completed when the military training is about to end. In this process, you also need to purchase various office supplies such as computers, desks, chairs, and printers. To build a technology company from scratch, and with no formal recruitment yet, he needs to do everything personally. Li Yuan turned on his computer and logged into QQ. He was just about to learn how to code, and the dialog box for editing Starry Sky kept flashing. Li Yuan quickly opened it and took a look. It was the message sent by editor Xing Kong. Xiahua, we have communicated about the publication of your new book. This is the sample printed by the publishing house. You can take a look at the appearance first. If you are sure it is okay, the company will send you a few copies. After a while, we will prepare an offline book. For the autograph session, you can prepare in advance. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 74. Printed out so quickly, Li Yuan thought to himself, the publishing house is fast enough, which is always a good thing. According to Xingkong's introduction, this time the simplified version of Fighting Starry Sky will be printed in an initial volume of 1 million copies, divided into 3 cycles. The first issue will print 100,000 copies. If the sales are good, it will be increase printing volume. The price of each hardcover book is also very expensive. The price of the first volume is 28.8 yuan. Li Yuan is not sure what the sales volume of the book will be like. Thinking about it, it should be pretty good. Even if the sales are not ideal, you won't lose much money. The cost of mass printing is still very low. At most, you will lose tens or millions. Yuandian.com has a big business and can afford to lose. He looked at some photos of Battle of the Stars. The design was very beautiful, but it was a bit too exaggerated, not simple and clear enough, and lacked a bit of style. Although this book is a complete cool text formula, the content is still good. It has lasted for many years and has remained popular for a long time. Simplified Chinese publishing is only the first step. Next, there will definitely be traditional Chinese publishing, animation, film and television adaptations, etc., and it can even form a hot IP series. Datang Technology Company established by Li Yuan plans to set up a business department specifically for incubating IP and acquiring the copyrights of famous works. This will be a money-attracting tool in the future. Li Yuan expressed his thoughts. Okay, the starry sky is huge. Let me take a look at it. I can give you a brief introduction to the picture. It's a bit fancy. The cover can be in the style of ink painting. Xingkong, okay, I also feel it's a bit too fancy. I'll let the publishing house make adjustments now. When it's ready, I'll send it to you. This is your first published book. You must strive for excellence, and it's better to be lacking than to overdo it. Li Yuan, well, Xingkong is in big trouble. Xingkong, you're welcome, Xiahua. Recently, the company is planning to launch a wonderful pen project training for online writers in Shanghai. We would like to invite you to be a gold medal lecturer of our Yuandian Chinese website to teach new authors your writing experience. Would you like to want to go? As if afraid of Li Yuan's objection, Xingkong quickly sent a message. There are many benefits to participating in this kind of training. It can help you sign a major contract faster. Moreover, the company will use its own resources to help you join the Chinese Writers Association. This is a formal association that begins with the Chinese character. It will be helpful to your future development. There is a lot of help. Li Yuan did not expect that at this time, the Yuandian Chinese website already had a MaleProtagonist project to cultivate new online writers. In his previous life, he had naturally never participated in such a similar plan. It wasn't that he didn't want to go, it was mainly because he couldn't leave. I heard that those who participate in this kind of training program can basically reach the level of high-quality writers. It is not a dream to earn more than 10,000 yuan a month. Among the conditions mentioned by Xingkong, it is not a big problem to become a great writer on the Origin Chinese website and get a great god appointment. With his achievements in Fighting Starry Sky, there is no problem at all in signing a great god appointment. At present, this book has reached 92,000 average subscriptions on the main website of Origin Chinese website. If it is used in the entire all media channels, it is certain to exceed 100,000 average subscriptions. With this kind of performance, it won't be a big problem to win the big contract and re-sign the sales sharing contract. What Li Yuan is more coveted is the last item, which can help him join the Chinese Writers Association. As an association beginning with the word, the Chinese Writers Association is an official organization affiliated with the country, and it still has a lot of gold content. You can even guide the development of the online literature market in the future and gain both fame and fortune. As far as he knows, in the future, it will be very difficult for internet writers to join the Chinese Writers Association. After thinking for a moment, Li Yuan still gave an affirmative answer. His writing level may not be very high, but he has experienced the baptism of the internet explosion era in the future. When the internet article first emerged in 2008, he went to guide some new authors. I still have the qualifications to make some suggestions. The starry sky is big, I am willing to participate. Xin Kong was very happy to see Li Yuan willing to participate. As this year's new writer, he was able to draw Li Yuan to give lectures, which was a great achievement for him. Xiahua, okay, I'll let you know when the specific schedule is finalized. Yeah. Okay. After handling matters related to book publishing and the Origin Chinese website, Li Yuan began to prepare for company recruitment related matters. Before, he had no time to recruit employees due to military training. Now he can put entrepreneurship, recruitment, and other matters on the agenda without military training. Although he is very satisfied with his current life. He has 6 fully paid houses and more than 18 million in cash, which is enough to live comfortably, but people always have to have dreams. Moreover, with all this wealth, he can only be considered a middle-income earner in the Magic City. He may only be a great internet writer, which may bring him some social status, but only a little bit. It would be a world of difference to reach the height of his dreams. Li Yuan opened Taiba, Campus Network, and other websites, looked at the current forum model, and thought about setting up a website himself to attract traffic. In the future, when traffic is king, being able to occupy the traffic market first will have an unlimited future. Having traffic means wealth. And now is the best time to grab users. The website that Li Yuan wants to build is naturally a comprehensive website. As the main force on the internet, it should first focus on campus forums. There are more than 2,000 universities in the country with more than 40 million teachers and students. College students are not only the main force of consumption, but also the core group of online shoppers and surfers. It can be said that as long as we can capture the huge group of college students, the future is limitless. Li Yuan searched for online forums of this era. Now is the period when the internet industry is booming. Qiandu Taiba, Campus Network, Zhulang Weibo, etc. are vying for success. Most of the current campus forums are gathered in Qiandu Taiba. This is the most glorious moment of Taiba today. For example, forum platforms such as Zhihu, Xiaohongshu, and Hupu Sports, which will be very famous in the future, have either not yet been launched, or they have just started. Li Yuan had played in these website forums in his previous life. Knowing the operation model of these websites, he could quickly develop the website. In addition to websites, making games is also a very good way to make money, especially some small games, web games, etc., which can make money very quickly. Now, what is lacking is not technology, but creativity. Li Yuan opened his laptop and thought about the possible entrepreneurial directions that he had recorded before. Some of them needed to be focused on, while others could be pursued simultaneously. For example, building a website and a game can be done at the same time. First of all, we need to find a headhunting company to recruit. Li Yuan found a relatively well-known headhunting company in later generations and gave a rough summary of his job conditions and salary. Mr. Li, what are your requirements and what kind of talents do you need to recruit? Mainly computer-related, game design, programming, web page production, animation design, etc. As for the number of people, it should be about 20. It is best to have relevant work experience. Bachelor degree or above is required. 985/211 universities are preferred. Salary benefits, monthly salary of 8,000 plus performance salary rewards, working location in Shanghai. Mr. Li, the salary you offer is very good. We will definitely find outstanding talents suitable for you after the announcement is made. The personnel will be qualified and it will take about a week. Yes, there is no rush in terms of time, but we must try our best to find those real talents, preferably graduates from prestigious schools. After your preliminary screening, Send me the resumes of suitable talents. No problem, Mr. Li. Our company's strength has always been well known. I believe our cooperation will be very pleasant. Then I will wait and see. After hanging up the phone with the headhunting company, Li Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. In 2008, some of the familiar recruitment websites have been established, but it is still difficult to recruit real talents from the recruitment websites. Now, online recruitment is not as developed as in later generations. In this era, most of the real talents are poached through company campus recruitment and headhunting companies with high salaries. A headhunting company that specializes in this field may not be able to dig out real geniuses, but it will definitely be better than the people you find yourself. Thinking of discovering talents, Li Yuan suddenly thought that Daxia University also has a computer department. Would he happen to meet some seniors? It's very interesting to think about that scene. It would be great if I could find the founders of MiHoYo and recruit them into my team. I only need to provide a platform and some ideas, and we can take off directly in the future. We can easily achieve a market value of tens of billions, and we can achieve it directly. Wealth freedom. Li Yuan just thought about it. Although MiHoYo has great potential, he knew nothing about the founder of MiHoYo. He wanted to know the heroes with his eyes and become a bowl, but there was no way. Li Yuan thought about the future for a while, and then devoted himself to the great business of coding again. With an income of tens of thousands a day and a large flat in the Magic City for a month, he couldn't live without it. In order to keep it secret for the time being, Li Yuan did not do much coding in the dormitory these days. Using a laptop to code is not as efficient or comfortable as the desktop computer he assembled. At his home in Jinxia Villa, there was a special study room where he used to code. When they came back at noon, Yijing and Lucia looked exhausted. Looking at Li Yuan, who was playing on the computer, he looked very envious. Brother Yuan, you feel really good now. You don't need military training. It's so comfortable. The weather outside is extremely hot. I feel like if it continues for 2 weeks, a layer of skin will be lost. By the way, Brother Yuan, aren't you going to participate in military training in the future? Li Yuan replied calmly, what else am I going to do? The special rights I finally obtained are not in use now and will become invalid upon expiration. Lucia gave a thumbs up. Tisk, tisk, Brother Yuan, you are still awesome. Zhou Tianyu also complained, these military training instructors really train us like dogs, and treat us completely differently from girls. This morning, after you left, there was a boy in our team who was too exposed to the sun. I had heat stroke and was sent to the school health room. Wu Hao also felt the same and cursed angrily, maid, our instructor Zhang is also very strict. After Brother Yuan left, his training became even more brutal. There are other boys who want to challenge you like you, but unfortunately they are not as good as Brother Yuan. I was punished by instructor Zhang to stand in a military posture for an hour, and I almost fainted from heat stroke. Yijing also gave a rare reply, after all, Brother Yuan is unique. Time in military training always flies by. Every freshman who participates in military training is very busy and tired. Roommates such as Lucia, Yijing, Zhou Tianyu, etc., as soon as they come back every day, after washing up, they immediately fall asleep and have no intention of staying up late. Li Yuan himself, besides typing, goes to Longjia building every day to check the progress of the company's decoration, and occasionally chats with Xiao's Haijin, Zhang Ziyu and Zhong Tingyu to maintain the relationship between friends. As for the green tea by Yue Guang, after Li Yuan deleted her QQ in a rage that day, he never contacted her again. Bai Wuxi never took the initiative to send her a text message, so Li Yuan naturally didn't bother to take the initiative to contact her. The two of them seemed to have made a complete break. From then on, Bai Yueguang only existed in his memory. Time passed leisurely, and more than a week passed in the blink of an eye. At night, Li Yuan was secretly sending messages to Xiao's Haijin. Haijin, Are you tired from the military training today? I heard that a girl in our class fainted due to heat stroke. In the girls' dormitory a 6608, Xia's Haijin had just finished washing up and was lying on the bed, holding her mobile phone, chatting with Li Yuan shyly. I'm not tired. When I was in my hometown in Shancheng, I often went up the mountain to chop wood and grow vegetables. I grew radishes, cabbages, and small chili peppers in my hometown. I'm very strong, and it's not as hot here as in Shancheng. Chen Chen in our dormitory fainted from heat stroke during training today. She needs to be transfused for several days. Li Yuan replied with a smile, oh, our classmate's Haijin is also a good vegetable grower. Do you know? I also grew vegetables when I was a child. There is a vegetable garden in our hometown. My mother often grows some evergreens, water spinach, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, etc. there. I especially like to eat scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Shancheng is indeed very hot. Although I haven't been there, I have heard of the reputation of the four major furnaces. Haijin, you used to be exposed to the sun like this, but you didn't get tanned. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 75. Xia's Haijin looked at Li Yuan's reply and had an idea in her mind. Can a rich second generation like Li Yuan also grow their own vegetables? Well, I can't tan, she asked shyly. Have you ever done farm work? In front of Xia's Haijin, Li Yuan didn't want to make any pretense or concealment for some reason, and wanted to share everything about himself with her. Maybe this was the feeling of heartbeat. My hometown is in the countryside of northern Anhui. My ancestors have been farmers for generations, including my parents. We still have 7 or 8 acres of land at home. I grew up and went to school in the countryside of northern Anhui, so I naturally know how to do farm work. Hey, when I was in junior high school, I used to go to the cornfield to water the ground with a spray belt. The corn is very tall and the leaves are very spicy. And soybeans, you know, you can often catch those on the leaves of soybeans. My mother used to fry very fat soybean bugs for me, but now I feel terrible when I think about it. We grow wheat there, but what you grow there should be rice, right? In the past, when there were no large combine harvesters, our family used small four-wheelers, the kind of single-cylinder tractors. The black smoke emitted by the tractors, it smells particularly good. I used to chase tractor exhaust and smell it with my playmates in the village. Not only can I do farm work, but I can also cook for myself. I fried spicy and sour potato shreds and tomatoes with scrambled eggs. They are very delicious. When you have the opportunity, I will let you try my craftsmanship. Listening to Li Yuan share his daily life as a child, Xia's Haijin felt that Li Yuan was no longer so far away from her. He used to be a very ordinary person. Although Li Yuan was very kind to her before, she always had a subconscious inferiority complex in her heart, thinking that he and she were from two different worlds and would not have anything in common. Xia's Haijin replied shyly, okay, I can also cook. My grandma often praises the delicious food I cook. Li Yuan chuckled, really? Then when the military training is over, let's cook a meal together and compare ourselves. Xia's Haijin's expression became even more shy, and she softly replied, yes. Li Yuan checked the time, it was already past 11 o'clock in the evening, and reminded. Haijin, military training is to pay attention to your health, eat more meat, eggs, etc., and be careful not to get heat stroke. It's getting late, you should go to bed early, good night. Xia's Haijin replied with a smiling expression, good night. Chapter 82 Company Recruitment, Secretary Xia is online. Military training continues, and Li Yuan has been running around the company, school, and home in Jingxia Villa every day for more than 10 days. Go buy computer servers, tables, chairs, benches, printers, and other office supplies, as well as coffee machines, water dispensers, decorative green plants, sofas for entertaining guests, etc. My busy feet never touch the ground every day, and my daily schedule is full of photos. Only by starting a business yourself, starting from scratch, and going through every detail, can you understand how much hard work is required for the simple word starting a business. During this period, Li Yuan always used company matters as an excuse to chat with Xia's Haijin every day, and occasionally asked to go out for a walk. The two gradually became familiar with each other. Li Yuan sent the office photos he took today to Xia's Haijin via QQ message. Haijin, this is the layout of the office. It looks okay. This office is specially reserved for you. It is right next to my office. There is a secret door between the two offices that can be opened. How is my design? Compliment me. Xia's Haijin replied shyly, Li Yuan, I can't help you. You don't need to give me an office. Just give me a desk. How can that be done? You are my secretary, the number 2 person in our company, and the future boss, ahem. Haijin, you have done a great job. I am very satisfied. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Li Yuan, thank you. Thank you. I'm okay. I'm a little hungry. Come with me for a supper. Huh? But, it's already past 10 p.m., and the dormitory is about to close. No problem, I have established a relationship with the dormitory aunt, and she will give me the green light to come back any time later. Then I'll wait for you downstairs in your Zuyuan. See you there or not. In the blink of an eye, 14 days of military training have passed in the midst of intense busyness. On the first night before the military training ended, Li Yuan received a call from a headhunting company, saying that qualified talents had been screened out and asked Li Yuan to organize interviews. Mr. Li, after preliminary screening, our headhunting company has selected 20 talents who meet your requirements. They all have rich experience in the internet industry, and have experience in the production of online web games, mini-games, website management, maintenance, animation design, etc. Work experience, all graduated from 985/211 University. Well, your efficiency is quite fast, so please send the resumes of these 20 people to our company's email address. Mr. Li, your resume has been sent. If you are dissatisfied, please contact us in time and we will serve you wholeheartedly. Okay, let me take a look at their resumes first. If there is anything wrong, I will tell you as soon as possible. Li Yuan carefully looked at the resumes of the 20 people sent by the headhunting company. They were all talents recruited from major internet and game companies with high salaries. They were extremely rich in terms of academic qualifications and work experience. If in the future, without an annual salary of 20 plus, it is impossible to hire one. Today's dating technology doesn't even have a company skeleton, and needs to constantly tap all kinds of talents. At this stage, the core talents of the company's development must be those who understand technology. If a little-known internet technology company wants to poach people, it can only attract them with high salaries. The guaranteed monthly salary he offered is 8,000, plus performance rewards, which is already very good. Naturally, there are 5 insurances and 1 housing fund. This is a formal company and it will definitely become bigger and stronger in the future. As a former migrant worker, he naturally does not believe in dreams. It may be useful to a few people, but the dreams of most people are just to make money. As long as there is financial incentive, there is no fear that company employees will not work hard. Li Yuan read everyone's resume one by one and was very satisfied. The quality of the talents selected by the headhunting company is pretty good. They are basically top students in computer and internet majors from 985/211 University. Several of them have also worked in large companies such as Techsun, Kiandu, and Wanji, and have production experience. Work experience in games, web pages, etc. Today's internet industry is affected by the global crisis, which has greatly affected employment prospects and even affected the college entrance examination. Otherwise, Li Yuan himself might not have the chance to pass the 985 Daxia University in Shanghai with an ordinary score of 211. Hey, there are actually two of them, and they are both seniors and sisters from Daxia University. This is quite interesting. Is the employment environment so bad this year? Li Yuan found it very interesting. He had just entered college, and there were alumni in the company who had graduated several years ago. After Li Yuan read them all, he contacted the headhunting company. These preliminary lists are okay, you can arrange the interview location. Mr. Li, according to your request, the interview location is arranged in a business conference room in Longjia building, and the time is scheduled for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay, that's it? After Li Yuan hung up the phone, his heart moved and he sent the list of 20 people to Xia Zhaijin via email. Zhaijin, this is the candidate our company is preparing to interview. You can take a brief look at it first and then go to the interview with me tomorrow. In Ziyuan, in girls' dormitory A-6608, girls such as Xia Zhaijin, Shen Ziyu, Ji Chen Chen, and others are celebrating the official end of military training. Shen Ziyu was lying on the bed, not wanting to move at all. Thank God, the 2 weeks of military training are finally over. I feel like my body has been hollowed out. Ji Chen Chen kept looking in the mirror, touching skincare products on his face, arms, long legs, etc., and kept complaining. My skin has become tanned during these 14 days of military training. I have to spend a lot of time and makeup to make up for it. Li Lanrong was chatting on his mobile phone with a smile on his face. I have good news for you all. After the military training is over, we have 3 days of vacation before the official start of class. Sisters, where are you going to play? Shen Ziyu said excitedly, let's go to the Magic City. It's been so long since we've been in the Magic City and we haven't had a good walk around yet. Who is in favor and who is against it? Ji Chen Chen was the first to raise his hand. I agree. He, I am a local in Magic City and can be your guide. Li Lanrong also raised his hand. I agree too. I want to see the sea. Gao Xian, I agree too. Zhangzhe, then I agree, I want to see the sea. Add 1. Shen Ziyu looked at Xia Zhaijin, who looked hesitant, and asked, Zhaijin, what about you? Xia Zhaijin's eyes hesitated, and she said weakly, I have other things to do tomorrow, so I can't go with you. Why? This is our first group activity, Shen Ziyu asked in confusion. Xia Zhaijin looked hesitant and didn't know how to speak. She had just received a message from Li Yuan, asking her to prepare and go to the company for an interview with him tomorrow. As Li Yuan's administrative assistant, of course she couldn't refuse. After all, she still received Li Yuan's salary in advance. Seeing that Xia Zhaijin was hesitant and unwilling to answer, Shen Ziyu suddenly stood up, came to Xia Zhaijin's side, and asked with a smile, Zhaijin, tell me quickly, has Li Yuan made an appointment with you tomorrow? Xia Zhaijin's face suddenly turned crimson and she nodded shyly. Seeing this, Shen Ziyu looked up to the sky and sighed, it's over, there is a guy in our dormitory who values sex over friends. Ziyu, Chen, that's not the case. Xia Zhaijin quickly explained, it's because Li Yuan has something important to do tomorrow, and I have to go with him. Ji Chen asked curiously, what important thing can he have? Xia Zhaijin kept Li Yuan's warning in mind and insisted not to say it. Ji Chen smiled teasingly, okay, then the 5 of us will go. You can go and accompany your boyfriend. That's not the case, Xia Zhaijin explained in a low voice, but her voice was weak. After her roommates lay down on their beds, Xia Zhaijin opened her laptop, logged into her QQ mailbox, downloaded the resume Li Yuan sent her, and read it carefully. They are all so awesome. They have rich work experience. Some of them have been presidents of student unions in universities. Li Yuan asked me to take a serious look and go to the interview with him tomorrow. What should I do? Just take a look. I'm only a freshman, so I'm going to interview these seniors. Isn't it inappropriate? If I ask him directly, will he think I'm stupid? I can't do this well. Xia's Haijin looked at the resume in the mailbox, her head was confused, she had no idea what to do. In the past, when she was in high school, she had worked part-time, but it was just simple jobs such as washing clothes and working as a waiter in a supermarket. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 76. Even the computer, she was taught by Li Yuan. After 2 weeks of training, she became more familiar with it. She can operate some basic word and table operations skillfully. Xia's Haijin hesitated for a long time, but still plucked up the courage to send a message to Li Yuan. Li Yuan, am I just taking a look? Do I need to do some other work? After Xia's Haijin sent it, she was extremely nervous and waited for Li Yuan's reply. She didn't wait for long. Almost in an instant, Li Yuan sent a message of experience. Haijin, you just need to take a look. The other work will be done by the head hunting company. Of course, if you want to learn, you can try to make a table, list these 20 interview candidates, and then set some scoring standards. When you are interviewed, it will be convenient to score and record. By the way, you can go to the school's copy shop tomorrow morning and print 2 copies of these resumes, which can be used during the interview. Seeing that Li Yuan replied with so much content, Xia's Haijin felt a little uneasy, afraid that she would not be able to do this job well. Li Yuan, I will work hard. I hope you are happy. I can make a lot of money and support you. Xia's Haijin blushed. In the past 2 weeks, Li Yuan chatted with her every day. In the evening, after the military training, he often bought her milk tea, snacks, etc., and sent them to her dormitory. Xia's Haijin's shyness and fear of getting along with Li Yuan have been reduced a lot. She could feel that Li Yuan really liked her. I don't want you to support me, I can do it myself. Yeah, my classmate's Haijin is the best. After the interview, let's go shopping and cook together. Yeah, you can only cook, you can't do bad things. Haijin, what bad things can I do? I have always been a gentleman. But you did that the day before yesterday. I was afraid that your hands would be cold at night, so I held your hand. Next time, I will definitely ask for your opinion first. Li Yuan, I am a little scared. Haijin, what are you afraid of? I am by your side, and I can beat down all the bad guys. Especially those licking dogs who pester you all day long, I will beat them every time I see them. I am afraid of you. The next day, in the large flat of Jinxia Villa, Li Yuan wore a newly bought small suit, dressed in a tie, and specially had a fashionable hairstyle. Seeing Li Yuan's formal look, Li Zixia hugged Li Yuan's arm and asked with a smile. Brother, why are you dressed so formally today? You look so handsome in this suit, so cool, it's hard to describe, really super handsome. Hee, when I want to find a boyfriend in the future, I will find one according to your standards. Li Yuan straightened his pectoralis major and said confidently, if you find a boyfriend according to my standards, then you will be alone in this life. Li Zixia pouted, brother, you are too narcissistic. I don't believe that there is no boy in this world who is taller, more handsome, and richer than you. Li Yuan answered affirmatively, definitely not, your brother is unique in the world. The future world's richest man, so it is impossible for anyone to be richer than me. Brother, I find you are really narcissistic. Li Zixia was speechless. Brother, what are you going to do today? Isn't the military training over? Your brother, I have to go out to do something today. Li Zixia said coquettishly, brother, where are you going? Take me with you. I don't have class today. Li Yuan glanced at her and shook his head, not today, I will take you to see it when I have the chance in the future. He has not yet told his family about the creation of his company. It's not that it's difficult to explain the source of funds, but there is no need to worry his parents. Father Li Heng and Mother Xiaqin have returned to the Magic City from the northeast, mainly taking care of their sister Li Zixia at home, and starting a semi-retired life. When they are bored, they often clamor to do some small business. Li Yuan has been secretly looking for several shops these days. The location and price have been negotiated. He will buy them in the next 2 days and let his parents do some small business. For example, a small supermarket selling tobacco and alcohol is very good. Generally, as long as the location is good, it is basically a sure profit. Of course, even if the business loses money, it can be earned back by the increase in the price of shops alone. Brother, when you have time, take us to visit the Magic City more often. My parents stay at home every day and are bored. You live in school, and they abuse me every day. Your baby sister has a miserable life. Li Zixia hugged Li Yuan's arm and continued to act like a spoiled child. From childhood to adulthood, she liked to act like a spoiled child in front of Li Yuan very much. Otherwise, how can we say that sisters are Voldemorts and brothers are sister-loving monsters? Oh, wait for the National Day holiday, I'll take you around. Hee, brother is the best to me. After leaving home, Li Yuan first took a car to the car rental company and rented a black Audi A8. While driving, Li Yuan couldn't help thinking that it was time for him to buy a car. It doesn't need to be a sports car worth millions, just BBA level. After all, after today, his identity will be different, and he will become a real boss. In the business world, the most representative of a businessman's strength is his car. Li Yuan drove to the gate of Daxia campus early to pick up his secretary Xia's Haijin. Because the campus is strictly controlled, Li Yuan's car cannot drive in. While waiting, looking at the students coming and going, Li Yuan suddenly thought of an interesting thing. If he put a bottle of drink on the front of the car, would there be a female college student who works as a part-time nude model voluntarily get in the car and discuss the human life structure with him? While Li Yuan was waiting, suddenly, he saw a line of girls coming over from the corner of his eye. The most important thing is that he knows these girls. Shenziu has a sharp eye and found Li Yuan sitting in the car. Hey, Chen, wrong, look, does the person sitting in the car look like Li Yuan? Ge Chen, Li Lanrong and other girls followed Shenziu's gaze. It's really him. Has Li Yuan bought a car? Li Yuan is here, is he waiting for Haijin? It should be, no wonders Haijin didn't go out with us, it turns out she went on a date with her boyfriend. Let's go over and say hello. Seeing several girls coming over, Li Yuan also got out of the car and said hello. Shenziu and the others were obviously stunned when they saw Li Yuan's outfit. Black suit, white shirt, small leather shoes, tin-foil perm. This outfit is really stylish. Shenziu said in amazement, Li Yuan, you are dressed like this, are you going to take Haijin on a date? Li Yuan smiled and said, I took her to do something else, are you going out together from the dormitory? Ge Chen looked at Li Yuan deeply, with a special emotion in his eyes, and replied, Li Yuan, is this the car you bought? Li Yuan smiled and said directly, I rented it. Ge Chen was stunned, with a strange look on his face. What, you rented it? No way. There is no need to rent an A8 for the sake of face. Shenziu covered her mouth and chuckled, Chen, Li Yuan must have lied to you. How could he rent a car when he is so tall, rich, and handsome? Li Yuan was too lazy to explain. It's not that he can't afford a car, but he just doesn't have time to buy one. Ji Chen wanted to say something, but Shenziu quietly pulled her arm and signaled her not to say more. Li Yuan, then you wait for Zhaijin here, we'll leave first. Li Yuan just smiled and nodded, without answering. After leaving Li Yuan's side, Shenziu looked at the proud Ji Chen and advised kindly. Chen, don't say some things. Judging from Li Yuan's face and personality, he is not easy to provoke. Whether his car is rented or not has nothing to do with us. Ji Chen muttered, I'm not afraid that Zhaijin will be deceived by him. Li Yuan's strong personality and Zhaijin's silly and simple appearance will definitely suffer. Shenziu shook her head, Chen, Zhaijin is not stupid at all. Chapter 83 Datang Set Sail, by Yujing Studio, please subscribe. Is Zhaijin stupid? This is not a question at all. It is said that children from poor families grow up early. Zhaijin may not be good at communication due to her living environment, and she is relatively inferior, shy and introverted, but her IQ is beyond reproach. During the conversation among several people in the dormitory, Shenziu once found out that Zhaijin's English score was somewhat congenitally insufficient due to her family and living environment, and she did very poorly in the college entrance examination, with less than 120 points. But even so, her overall score was comparable to that of several of them. Her IQ was fine, and her EQ was also very good. Among several roommates, Shenziu felt that Zhaijin had the highest EQ, and was able to take care of the emotions of several roommates, and had never had any quarrels with any of them. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 77. Of course, this can also be said from a certain perspective. Zhaijin is a coward, inferior, and timid person, and dare not compete with others. Ji Chen pouted speechlessly and said impatiently, let her be. Anyway, I despise those guys who value women over friendship. There are 6 people in our dormitory. It's hard to go shopping together, but she is missing. If she wants to accompany her boyfriend, she can do it at any time. Shenziu thought of last night, when Zhaijin sat in front of the computer, as if she was working on the computer until very late, and felt that there might be something serious between her and Li Yuan. Besides, Li Yuan's dress today is very strange. For more than half a month, Li Yuan has been wearing simple sportswear and sports shoes. He is a sportsman. He rarely wears more formal clothes such as suits and white shirts. This, could it be? Shenziu asked, do you know what Li Yuan's family does? Ji Chen waved her hands impatiently, how can I know about such private matters? In my opinion, he is either in business or in politics, and should be a second generation. Li Lanrong is more careful. She also noticed Li Yuan's strange dress today, and Zhaijin's expression of wanting to say something but not saying it in the dormitory last night. She worked on a spreadsheet in front of the computer until late at night. In this case, it may not be like a date. How can a couple wear formal clothes when going on a date? I also find it strange. Li Yuan and Zhaijin may really have something serious today. Shenziu laughed and said, I know that Zhaijin is not the kind of girl who values love over friendship. Ji Chen felt a little irritated when she thought of the sweet feelings between Li Yuan and Zhaijin. She had never been in a relationship and had a beautiful yearning for college campus romance. And her college classmate Li Yuan was exactly what she liked and met her mate selection criteria. However, she, a native girl from Shanghai, was defeated by an ordinary girl from a mountainous area. What made her even more upset was that from beginning to end, Zhaijin probably didn't know that her rival existed. Li Yuan went to the girls' dormitory several times, but never looked at her straight in the eye. All his eyes were focused on Zhaijin, and she was like a passerby. Li Yuan waited silently, and soon, a girl who made his eyes light up came over with her head down. The clothes Xia's Haijin wore today were the clothes Li Yuan bought for her when he took her to the mall before military training. She wore tight jeans, white flat shoes, a casual coffee-color jacket, a white shirt, and a fashionable handbag. Her hair was not tied up in a high ponytail like before, but was draped over her shoulders. With her innocent and flawless beauty, Li Yuan was stunned. She had a high rate of turning heads along the way, and that was because she kept her head down, otherwise, she would definitely trigger a storm of perverts. Xia's Haijin came to Li Yuan shyly, opened her pearly teeth slightly, and said shyly, "Li Yuan, where are we going?" Li Yuan stared at Xia's Haijin blankly, his heartbeat inexplicably accelerated, and his eyes stayed on her. "Haijin, you are very beautiful today." "Thank you." Xia's Haijin looked up at Li Yuan, her cheeks still flushed. It was okay when they were chatting online, but once they met in real life, she would become very shy. "Get in the car, let's go to Longjia building. I have already made appointments with those applicants, and we will have interviews there today." "Okay." Li Yuan opened the passenger door very gentlemanly, but it was a pity that it was not his car, so there was nothing worth talking about. Xia's Haijin, who was sitting in the passenger seat, was straight and looked very nervous. Seeing her like this, Li Yuan thought she was a little nervous because she was about to go for an interview, so he said with a smile, "Haijin, don't be nervous. During the interview, you just need to listen and remember. I will take care of everything." Xia's Haijin said lightly. In fact, what she wanted to say was that she was not nervous because of the interview, but because. She glanced at Li Yuan's hand on the car's center console, which was close to her thigh, and touched it from time to time. Li Yuan, can you please not touch my leg?" Li Yuan withdrew his claws with a normal look and muttered, "My hand doesn't listen to me and has its own ideas." Xia's Haijin's pretty face flushed. It took less than 10 minutes for the two to arrive at Longjia building. After parking the car, Li Yuan took Xia's Haijin to his company first. 3 days ago, the office equipment, circuits, equipment, etc. inside the company had been renovated. Now, everything is ready, only employees are missing. After today's interview, we will select the employees we like and they will be able to start work officially. The Tang Dynasty ship is about to set sail. Xia's Haijin looked at the brand new company with curiosity. Someone was bringing in pots of green plants to place them. This was to remove the formaldehyde smell after the renovation. Li Yuan used high-quality materials for the decoration. The content of harmful gases such as formaldehyde was very low. The decoration company promised that you can move in with your luggage. "Haijin, how do you feel?" "Although it's a bit shabby now, I believe it will get better and better in the future." Xia's Haijin looked at Li Yuan with deep admiration in her eyes and praised sincerely. "Li Yuan, I feel very good. You are really awesome. You are the most awesome boy in my heart." Li Yuan, who was praised by Xia's Haijin, felt a little flattered. He also felt that he was quite capable. However, he was not carried away. His career had just begun. It was a long journey, and he had not yet completed the first step of the oath-taking ceremony. He was still a long way to go. "Let's go to the business meeting room downstairs to prepare for the interview." In the business meeting room, Li Yuan sat in the middle, and Xia's Haijin sat next to him. This was the first interview in his life. Soon, the first interviewer pushed the door open. This was a young man with sparse hair, the type who became stronger when bald. He was wearing a formal suit and obviously took this interview very seriously. After the young man sat down in the room, he first glanced at Li Yuan. His expression was obviously a little shocked, as if he was wondering why Li Yuan was so young. He glanced at Xia's Haijin, who was taking notes with his head down, took a deep breath, and started to introduce himself directly, but his tone was a little nervous. "Hello, my name is Hu Zhenqiang, I am 31 years old this year, graduated from Daxia University with a bachelor's degree in computer science, have rich experience in game production, participated in the development of many large-scale web games, and worked in Wanji Company for 5 years. I think I can be qualified for the job of chief game designer. Li Yuan looked at the other party's resume. 31 years old is the golden age in the internet industry, and there are still a few years before the threshold of 35 years old. The school he graduated from is his alma mater, computer science, or one of his seniors. Hu Zhenqiang also has rich work experience and has work experience in large companies. This kind of computer code farmer is not like a job hopping. Hu Zhenqiang, hello, may I ask why you resigned from the previous company? If you are not convenient to answer, you can choose not to answer. Hu Zhenqiang glanced at Li Yuan, his expression was slightly hesitant, but he still answered. Because of emotional factors, I had an office romance. Later, because of emotional discord, we broke up. Only one of us could stay, so I took the initiative to resign. Li Yuan nodded. This phenomenon is very common in the workplace. In his previous life, he was a person who experienced office romance, and it was also the main reason for him to give up his job and return to his hometown to take the civil service exam. Office romance, I can understand this, but why did you choose our Datang Technology, a newly established small company? Although the salary and benefits we offer are not bad, they are still a little worse than those of big companies such as Wanji and Sungsuan. Speaking of salary and benefits, Hu Zhenqiang's eyes flashed a gleam, staring closely at Li Yuan's young face, and answered decisively. Because Datang Technology Company has just been established, it means that it is a brand new blank sheet of paper, which can be dominated by me, and represents unlimited potential. I think the two interviewers should also agree with this statement. Li Yuan's eyes lit up. This is an ambitious person. It is good to be ambitious. As long as you have ambition, whether it is ambition in terms of money or ambition in other aspects, it means that you have some aspirations in your heart. Such people will work harder and more seriously. What do you think about the prospects of the game industry? Hu Zhenqiang had already prepared a plan in his mind, and answered directly and neatly, I think the game industry will usher in a booming development after the economic crisis, and it will last for a long time. Li Yuan continued to ask, why do you say this? Hu Zhenqiang answered confidently, first, the development of science and technology, especially the rapid development of internet technology. Now, the computer and mobile phone industries have been with the rapid development, the performance is getting better and better, which makes the carrier of the game get continuously improved. Second, the hobbies of the student group. With the vigorous development of the internet, especially the computers are beginning to fly into the homes of ordinary people, the performance of computers is improving every year, and online games will inevitably follow suit, because this is the most immersive game in the new era. In time, it is possible to become the second world of mankind. Hu Zhenqiang spoke very well, and the light in Li Yuan's eyes became brighter and brighter. It must be said that Li Zhenqiang in front of him has a good grasp of the market. He is worthy of being a top student of a 985 university and his senior. Li Yuan stood up and stretched out his hand, welcome to join my team. Hu Zhenqiang also stood up quickly, stretched out his hand, and shook hands with Li Yuan. Thank you for your approval. Please sit down. What are your requirements for salary and benefits? Hu Zhenqiang did not hesitate and directly stated his standards. I hope that the monthly basic salary is 12,000 plus, and there will be performance commissions based on performance at the end of the year. In addition, the 5 insurances and 1 housing fund must be complete. I think I am worth this price. After listening to this, Li Yuan felt that it was okay. With the other party's ability and experience, if he can do it, this price is worth it. I agree with the salary you mentioned. The probation period is 1 month, and you will be converted to a regular employee after the expiration of the period. The probationary salary is 6,000. If you think it's okay, you can come to the company to work tomorrow and sign a contract. Li Yuan took out a business card that he made during military training. This is my business card, with my contact information and company address. Hu Zhenqiang took the business card, looked at the content, and couldn't help but look at Li Yuan deeply. On Li Yuan's business card, it was clearly written that Li Yuan, General Manager of Datang Technology Company. Hu Zhenqiang thought to himself. At such a young age, I am already the general manager of a company. I may be a second-generation person who is just playing around. This is both an opportunity and a misfortune. Let's see how the company's development prospects are. If I can let go, I may be able to achieve something. One day, I will stand in front of you with my head held high. Mr. Li, see you tomorrow. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 78. After Hu Zhenqiang left, Li Yuan did not immediately interview the next person, but looked at Xia's Haijin, who was silently taking notes beside him, and asked with a smile. Haijin, how do you feel? Xia's Haijin took her marked resume and answered seriously. Li Yuan, I think he speaks very well and is very clear, but a little too sharp and confident. He should be a person with more ideas. I am not too clear about the factors he mentioned. I will study hard after the interview. Seeing her serious look, Li Yuan couldn't help but stretch out his salty pig hand and touch Xia's Haijin's head. Xia's Haijin has been used to Li Yuan's clumsy movements these days. Her cheeks are flushed, but she didn't avoid him. Haijin, you are great. You can see so many things in the first interview. Xia's Haijin said shyly, don't praise me. I know I'm stupid. Little fool, I like your cute and shy look. Besides, how can Haijin be stupid? If anyone says you are stupid, tell me and I promise not to beat him to death. Xia's Haijin lowered her head, feeling very sweet in her heart. She has been used to Li Yuan's unreliable confession. Li Yuan, shall we continue the interview? Li Yuan returned to his serious state and nodded. Of course, there are 19 people behind, which will take a lot of time. Then let's continue. Haijin, you are doing well, keep observing, pay attention to their conversation, words and deeds, opinions. Well, I know. In the blink of an eye, half a day passed, and Li Yuan had completed the interviews of 20 preliminary candidates. It has to be said that the headhunting company is still genuine. The talents selected for Li Yuan, whether in terms of professional knowledge or other aspects, are in line with or even exceed the positioning in Li Yuan's mind. Li Yuan agreed to recruit all 20 people. The more talents he needs for the next thing, the better. As for salary and benefits, the basic salary is between 8,000 and 12,000, plus performance salary. As for the probationary salary, it ranges from 4,000 to 6,000 according to each person's level. Like Hu Zhenqiang, as well as Xie Zheng and Lin Yue, who he is more interested in, he is ready to entrust them with important tasks and play a more important role in the next business. Li Yuan wrote 2 names on a white paper. Datang and Bai Yujing. Datang is the abbreviation of Datang Technology Company he founded. And Bai Yujing comes from myths and legends of immortals. Bai Yujing in the sky, 12 floors and 5 cities. The studio he is going to establish is called Bai Yujing Studio. Li Yuan hoped that under his leadership, Bai Yujing Studio could become the highest benchmark in the gaming industry. Chapter 84, Abduct the Treasure Girl Home, subscribe. In the conference room, Li Yuan looked at Xia's Haijin taking dense notes and couldn't help but touch her head. She is such a serious and well-behaved treasure girl. She is so charming even when she is working. Xia's Haijin carefully helped Li Yuan collect all the interview materials and asked shyly, Li Yuan, are we going back to the company now? Li Yuan retracted his salty hands, shook his head, and said with a smile, "I've been busy for a long time today. I'll go to work tomorrow. I have something serious to do today." Xiaozhaijan's flawless face showed a puzzled and inquiring look. "Then, what else do you want to do?" Li Yuan smiled, "Wait a while, you'll know." Xiaozhaijan nodded, "Oh. Li Yuan, should I take these documents and materials back?" Li Yuan shook his head, "No, as for these documents and files, put them in the company first, and use them when I go through the probation period procedures tomorrow." Then are we going back to school now?" "Not for the time being, let's go to work first." After leaving the company, Li Yuan took the Shai Xiaozhaijan and walked directly to the underground first floor of Longjia building. The underground first floor is a large shopping supermarket. Because today is the weekend, there is a constant flow of people, shoulder to shoulder. Li Yuan stretched out his hand and looked at Xiaozhaijan. "Zhaijan, give me your hand." Xiaozhaijan lowered her head shyly, her pretty face flushed, her voice was as soft as a mosquito, drowned in the noisy crowd. "What do you want to do?" Li Yuan answered seriously, "There are too many people here, I'm afraid you will get lost." Xiaozhaijan kept silent shyly, lowered her head, looked at the ground, and her two little hands, which had nowhere to put, tightly pinched the corners of her clothes. Li Yuan saw this, smiled in his heart, stretched out his right hand directly, and grabbed Xiaozhaijan's soft little hand. "Zhaijan, this way, you won't get lost." Xiaozhaijan's pretty face flushed. How could she not see that this was an excuse Li Yuan deliberately found? She was a little road shy, but she was not an idiot. The corner of her beautiful eyes secretly glanced at Li Yuan, who looked serious and calm. In the crowd of people in the supermarket, Xiaozhaijan, whose hand was tightly held by Li Yuan, became even more shy, and followed Li Yuan step by step into the supermarket. Li Yuan pushed a shopping cart with his left hand, held Xiaozhaijan with his right hand, and walked into the supermarket calmly. The slightly sweaty palms showed his inner restlessness. This was a further proof of his relationship with Xiaozhaijan. Now that they can hold hands, how far is it from a further relationship? He couldn't help but think of his previous life, when he had such close contact with Baiwuxi. But it was different from now. At that time, he had nothing in his hands, and he could not get 300 oceans in his wallet and bank card, so his character was a bit submissive and not courageous enough. Money is a man's courage and his backbone. Whether he can stand up straight and give the women around you the so-called sense of security, and whether he can also give himself a sense of security, lies in the number of digits in his bank card balance. Fortunately, now he has enough confidence to give the treasure girl around him a sense of security. Same scene, but different people. Li Yuan glanced at Xiaozhaijan, who was blushing, and took the initiative to change the topic and lower her attention. "Zhaijan, let's take a look at the snack area first. What snacks do you like?" There are many customers in the supermarket, especially Li Yuan and Xiaozhaijan, who are all dressed up seriously today. They can be said to be a handsome man and a beautiful woman, and they are particularly eye-catching. Xiaozhaijan was very shy. "I like to eat fried peanuts." "Fried peanuts?" Li Yuan was a little curious. Xiaozhaijan explained softly, "There are many peanuts planted in the field in front of my house. When the peanuts are harvested, I dig them out, wash them and dry them, then mix them with river sand and fry them in a pot. The peanuts are delicious." Li Yuan chuckled and said, "How do I feel? Your home is full of treasures. Can you take me to your home to see it in the future? I have never been to a mountain city before." "Yeah." Xiaozhaijan lowered his head shyly, not knowing what he was thinking. Li Yuan's hand tightened. "Zhaijan, it's agreed. Later, maybe during the spring festival or summer vacation, I will go to your hometown with you to visit. By the way, leave some peanuts and oranges for me. The oranges we eat are all from the south. I've never tasted the oranges from Shancheng." How do they taste? The oranges grown in the back hill of my house are so sweet. Xiaozhaijan's face was filled with a smile and she nodded gently. My family has planted a total of 36 orange trees. When they mature in autumn, we can't finish them all. Just peel off the skin and use it to make orange juice. It can quench your thirst while working. Then why not sell it? Is it because the roads are not good? Well, my family lives in the mountains, more than 20 kilometers away from the town. There is only one winding mountain road. You can only ride a motorcycle or walk, neither cars nor trucks can drive in. The things grown on the mountain cannot be transported out. Sometimes, it's the fault of the tree. Xiaozhaijan's eyes turned red as she spoke, and a tear fell quietly. Li Yuan held her hand tightly, walked to Xiaozhaijan, and whispered in her ear, "Zhaijan, don't worry, things will get better in the future. The sky will be bluer, the water will be clearer, the roads will be longer and longer, and they will be built to the doorstep of every household in the country. Every family will be able to get living security. There will no longer be poverty and poverty. Every mountainous area and poverty-stricken children in the area can have a house to live in, food to eat, clothing to wear, and can go to school with peace of mind." Li Yuan already roughly understood what kind of family Xiaozhaijan was like, and why he was so low-key and deliberately concealed himself. Even when he first entered college, he hurriedly worked part-time in the cafeteria just to make a living. Other girls, when they first entered college, were not like the apple of their eye. Only she had to deliberately hide in the darkness. Li Yuan grabbed Xiaozhaijan's little hand fiercely. If the supermarket hadn't been so crowded, he would have really wanted to pull her into his arms and give her a warm arm so that she could rely on. Xiaozhaijan's eyes were red and she looked at Li Yuan seriously. "Li Yuan, will the day you mentioned really happen?" Feeling Xiaozhaijan's eager and hopeful eyes, Li Yuan's heart trembled suddenly and he answered resolutely, "Believe me, I promise, that day will definitely come." There was something in Li Yuan's heart that he didn't say. He was an insignificant participant in that great era and accomplished unprecedented historical achievements. Xiaozhaijan nodded heavily, I believe you." Li Yuan rubbed her head, "Stop crying, or you will cry like a little cat. You have to be happy, and you will be happy every minute and every second of every year, every month, every day." Xiaozhaijan chuckled, her clear and flawless eyes reflected Li Yuan's figure, and she said in an inaudible voice, "Li Yuan, it's great to have you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie." Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 79. In the snack area, Li Yuan looked at the snacks he liked and stuffed them directly into the shopping cart. "Zhaijan, buy more of these snacks: plums, chocolate, nuts, melon seeds, pistachios, you can eat whatever you want." Xiaozhaijan saw Li Yuan looking like a shopaholic and quickly grabbed Li Yuan's hand. "Li Yuan, I can't eat so much." Li Yuan shrugged, "If you can't eat it, just leave it in the dormitory. Anyway, the shelf life of snacks is very long. Eat slowly and you will finish them one day. Besides, you roommates are also snackers, so you can share them with them." Xiaozhaijan followed Li Yuan and murmured to herself, "But if you eat too many snacks, will you gain weight?" Li Yuan glanced at Xiaozhaijan's figure. She seemed to be malnourished and not as big as Xiao Yuer and Baiwuxi. "Zhaijan, I think you should eat more. Let her grow meat where she should." Xiaozhaijan asked doubtfully, "What is the place where flesh should grow?" Cough, cough, cough. Li Yuan coughed awkwardly and thought to himself, he was used to driving in the dormitory, and he couldn't hold his tongue. It's a sin, a sin. A pure and clean girl like Xiaozhaijan cannot be polluted by the world. It is good to always maintain this innocent character. You may have heard wrong. Anyway, just eat more in the future. Oh, okay. After buying a large bag of snacks, Li Yuan took Xia's Haijin to the vegetable, fruit, and meat section. Hey, Haijin, you promised me that day that you would compete with me in cooking. Did you not forget it? Xia's Haijin buried her head shyly. How could she forget? Every moment since she met Li Yuan would appear in her mind in the dead of night. Looking at the dazzling array of fresh vegetables, chicken, duck, meat, eggs, and various seafood products, Xia's Haijin's eyes were eager to try. It had been more than half a month since she had cooked. Li Yuan smiled and said, Haijin, what are you good at cooking? Let's cook it ourselves when we go home today. Hee, today I will also show you my skills and let you have a taste of my craftsmanship. Two people bought some common vegetables and meat in the supermarket and filled a cart full of them. Li Yuan drove to Jiangnan Garden, a high-end community next to Jingxia Villa. It was one of the 3 finely decorated houses he bought. This house is also a large flat floor with an area of 148 square meters. It has a very good location and a very wide view. It has 4 bedrooms, 2 living rooms and 2 bathrooms. It is a well-decorated house. During these days of military training, he will occasionally come here to live for a while. Xia's Haijin was sitting in the passenger seat, her body stretched straight, her palms were slightly sweaty, and she was very nervous inside. Occasionally, she looked out the window and saw the scattered houses. In the Magic City, every house represented the existence of a millionaire. This was something she could not even imagine. It was like being in 2 worlds. Secretly glancing at Li Yuan and seeing that he was smiling, Xia's Haijin suddenly had other thoughts in her heart and became even more nervous. He wants to take me home. What should I do if he tampers with me at home? Li Yuan naturally didn't know what Xia's Haijin was thinking. Haijin, here we are, I will live on the top floor of this building. Just put your stuff in the elevator. Xia's Haijin suddenly showed a shy expression and asked hesitantly, Li Yuan, can I ask you something? What's the matter? Just ask. Xia's Haijin's face turned even redder, and she lowered her head. Uncle and aunt, are you at home? Li Yuan was startled and was about to answer truthfully, but suddenly his heart moved and he decided to tease this timid and shy treasure girl. My parents are both at home. Ah, Xia's Haijin's face changed, and it turned red like blood. Her body was shaking violently, and she stared at Li Yuan closely. Li Yuan, we are going too fast like this, I'm afraid. Xia's Haijin was in a state of confusion at the moment. She had not thought of this problem just now. Going to the groom's house is equivalent to a formal visit to their hometown and should be treated very seriously. She suddenly felt a little panicked, and a feeling of fear surged into her heart. She didn't know how to face Li's parents. Would they look down on her? Rejecting his virginity with Li Yuan. She has a bad background and is just an ordinary girl from a remote mountainous area. Will she be looked down upon in front of a wealthy family like Li Yuan? If my uncle and aunt don't like me, then I will leave. I can't let him be in a dilemma. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan's side face and had this idea in her mind. In the past half-month, while enjoying Li Yuan's meticulous care, she had also fallen in love with Li Yuan. Li Yuan saw the sparkling tears in Xia's Haijin's eyes, stretched out his hand, held her little hand in his, and said decisively, Haijin, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Xia's Haijin looked at Li Yuan and said nothing, just nodded. In the elevator, the atmosphere was a bit dull. Li Yuan secretly regretted that he would have told Xia's Haijin the truth if he had known it would make Xia's Haijin think too much. Ding, the elevator door opens. Xia's Haijin had restored her smile and was helping Li Yuan carry the vegetables. Her cheeks were already stained with a blush, and her body was trembling slightly, as if she was waiting for the trial of Li Yuan's parents. Li Yuan opened the door. After entering the house, he made an invitation to Xia's Haijin, who was in a daze outside the door. "Classmate Xia's Haijin, welcome home." Xia's Haijin listened to the words welcome home, and for some reason, her eyes suddenly became misty. And there was no other movement in the house. She asked nervously, Li Yuan, uncle and aunt, are you not at home? Li Yuan laughed, stretched out his hand and pulled Xia's Haijin into the house, and joked with a smile, "Students Haijin, my parents don't live here. Today, you are the hostess here." Xia's Haijin lowered her head shyly when she heard the word hostess, and she was relieved. It's better not to meet the parents at home. She really doesn't know how to face Li Yuan's parents. This is a bit too fast. Xia's Haijin entered the house and looked at the house curiously. The first impression was that it was very large and spacious. There was a huge floor-to-ceiling glass on the balcony. You can look directly at the river not far away through the window. She thought to herself, is this Li Yuan's home? Li Yuan looked at the time. It was around 12 noon. It was time for lunch. He came directly to Xia's Haijin, stretched out his hand, and pulled her up. "Hey, today's hostess, it's your turn to show off your skills." Chapter 85, The Most Beautiful Little Cook in the Universe, A Kiss That Seals a Lifetime. Please subscribe. In the spacious and clean kitchen, Xia's Haijin was shyly washing peppers, garlic sprouts and other vegetables, and Li Yuan was watching from the side with a smirk. It must be said that Xia's Haijin looks very good when she cooks, and she has the feeling of a virtuous and beautiful little cook. She completely fits his ideal type of partner. Xia's Haijin is very skilled in cooking. Under her knife, the vegetables are quickly cut, and the knife skills are very good. The pieces of pork belly are uniform in size. "Haijin, you are making twice cooked pork, right? Put so much bean paste and peppers, I'm already drooling just by smelling it." Xia's Haijin was flipping the wok, and because of the heat in the kitchen, beads of sweat had already overflowed from her forehead. Li Yuan was beside her, and wiped her with paper considerately. I made Sichuan-style twice-cooked pork. My grandmother taught me. In our hometown, my grandmother used soybeans, watermelons, red peppers and other pickled beans. The taste was delicious. Li Yuan smelled the aroma of twice-cooked pork and couldn't help swallowing his saliva. For some reason, watching Xia's Haijin cooking, he suddenly thought that it would be nice if he could do this for the rest of his life. No need to think about revenge on green tea white moonlight, no need to be ambiguous with the singing Xiao Yu, no need to ask Zhong Tingyu about his well-being every night to maintain the image of a senior. In the future, there will be no Shura field, forcing myself to be a time management master. Just like this, stay with this gentle girl in front of you, who is as gentle as water and like a fairy in the moon palace, quietly and low-key, go shopping together, cook together, live together. A pair of people for a lifetime, half drunk, half awake, half floating. Is it really interesting to be a scumbag and a sea king? Li Yuan was a little dazed by his thoughts. Seeing Li Yuan staring at him in a daze, Xia's Haijin's face flushed. She whispered, "The twice-cooked pork is ready, do you want to try it first?" When Li Yuan came back to his senses, Xia's Haijin was looking at him expectantly, and he felt very warm and sweet in his heart. This feeling was really comfortable, and it made him feel relaxed, without any worries, as if the world was quiet for him. He took the chopsticks, and under Xia's Haijin's expectant eyes, he picked up a piece of twice-cooked pork and put it into his mouth. The spicy and fragrant taste made Li Yuan's taste buds explode instantly. He couldn't help but stare at Xia's Haijin, who was wearing an apron, again and again. Although he had guessed that the food made by Xia's Haijin would be delicious, Li Yuan didn't expect that the twice-cooked pork she made would be so delicious, and the taste was extremely authentic, even better than the twice-cooked pork made in the second canteen of Daxia University. "Li Yuan, how does it taste?" Xia's Haijin asked nervously. Li Yuan picked up another piece of twice-cooked pork, put it into his mouth, and ate it with relish. At the same time, he gave a thumbs up and looked at the most beautiful little cook in the universe in front of him. This is really the most beautiful scenery in the world. Zijin, if I fail in my business and go bankrupt, with your cooking skills, we can open a Sichuan restaurant in Shanghai and make a fortune. We can live comfortably. Xia Zijin pursed her lips and smiled softly, showing a rare playful look. Okay, if that day comes, I will support you. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 80. Li Yuan immediately agreed, then it's a deal. Hey, for the rest of my life, I will hug classmates Haijin's thigh tightly, rely on you, and feed you. Xia's Haijin lowered her head shyly, put the twice-cooked pork on the stove, and said softly, Li Yuan, do you want to eat now? I'll serve you some rice. How can I eat alone? Of course I have to wait for you to come with me. Li Yuan waved the kitchen knife with his right hand and picked up a big potato with his left hand. The most beautiful little cook in the universe, now it's my turn to show you my specialties, spicy and sour potato shreds and scrambled eggs with tomatoes and peppers. Li Yuan can really cook, and his knife skills and cooking skills are pretty good among boys of the same age. Under Xia's Haijin's expectant gaze, he quickly cut the big potatoes into slices and then shreds. He cut some dried red peppers, peeled garlic, and fresh green and red peppers. After a while, he prepared the hot and sour peppers. The side dish of shredded potatoes is ready. Haijin, now it's my turn to perform. Seeing Li Yuan put on the kitchen robe, Xia's Haijin pursed her lips and snickered. At this moment, Li Yuan looked extremely real, like an ordinary person living next to her, not the rich, handsome man with a domineering and gentle style. Li Yuan took the spoon and poured in the soybean oil. As the oil gradually heated up, he first threw in the dry red chili peppers, then added the garlic. When it was fragrant, he added fresh chili peppers and onion segments, poured in the shredded potatoes and stir-fry over high heat. Stir-fry, add salt, cooking wine, vinegar, extremely fresh and other condiments, and in just a few moments, a freshly cooked hot and sour potato shreds were brought to Xia's Haijin. Haijin, how do you like it? Li Yuan waited nervously and expectantly for Xia's Haijin's reaction. You know, in his previous life, he had been a dog licker for 7 years, but he didn't even cook it for Bai Wuxi to taste. Xia's Haijin picked up the hot and sour potato shreds with a smile on her face and put it into her mouth. Her eyes lit up and she looked very surprised. Wow, Li Yuan, the hot and sour potato shreds you made are really, really good. Li Yuan breathed a sigh of relief and replied narcissistically, that's necessary. I have been making this dish since the 3rd grade of elementary school. Xia's Haijin stared at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes, and suddenly felt that Li Yuan was really perfect in every aspect. Haijin, wait a while, I will make scrambled eggs with tomatoes and peppers. This is my unique way. Yeah, then you teach me. Wait, it's very simple, but it tastes very good. Li Yuan first beat the egg juice, put it into hot oil and put it into the pan. Then he put the fried eggs into a plate, then fried dried chili peppers, fresh chili peppers, onions, garlic, etc., added tomatoes, stir-fried for a few times over high heat, and then brought it to the boil. Pour the oil on top of the eggs. How's it going? Is it very appetizing? This is my homemade scrambled egg with tomatoes and peppers, but it consumes more fuel. Xia's Haijin saw that Li Yuan had really invented a new dish and couldn't help but praise, Li Yuan, you are really amazing. Hey, don't praise me yet, just try it. Xia's Haijin took a bite and found that it was sour, spicy, and delicious. It did have a more special taste than the ordinary scrambled eggs with tomatoes. The taste is great, better than I expected, and very suitable for the taste of people in Sichuan and Chongqing. Li Yuan stared at Xia's Haijin's flawless white and mouth-wateringly beautiful face, and really wanted to kiss her. Hey, from now on, we will open a Sichuan restaurant. I will be the boss and you will be the boss's wife. I will ensure that we have enough food and clothing. When Xia's Haijin heard Li Yuan's words, you will be the boss's wife, she lowered her head shyly again. These days, Li Yuan has expressed his love to her in various ways. Hey, there are already 3 dishes. You can make pickled fish and we can enjoy lunch in the sunshine. This lunch was the happiest lunch Li Yuan had ever had in his past and present lives. Although there are no delicacies, there are only 4 home-cooked dishes: spicy and sour potato shreds, scrambled eggs with tomatoes and peppers, twice-cooked pork, and pickled fish, but they are better than any delicacies in the world. After having lunch and washing up, Li Yuan turned on the TV and sat next to Xia's Haijin. Looking at Xia's Haijin's pure and beautiful face and her clear black eyes, Li Yuan suddenly asked, "Haijin, do you like this kind of life?" Xia's Haijin nodded shyly, "I like it." Li Yuan, "I like it too. Being able to live a simple but happy life with the person you like is not the true meaning of happiness that we pursue throughout our lives." After saying that, Li Yuan quietly reached out and took Xia's Haijin's little hand, and rubbed against her. The two of them were almost touching each other. The occasional touch between the skin was like an electric discharge, making Li Yuan feel like there was something in his body. A biological current flows throughout the body. Xia's Haijin's body trembled, she lowered her head shyly, her heart beating wildly. Li Yuan looked at the beautiful Xia's Haijin, and suddenly he boldly put his head in front of her face, smelling the virgin fragrance on her body. At this moment, the shackles sealed by cement somewhere in Li Yuan's heart were completely broken. There was a heavy breath in her ears, which made Xia's Haijin's heart rise in her throat. She was extremely nervous. From her flawless cheeks to her long snow-white neck, everything was bright red. She seemed to have anticipated what Li Yuan would do next. Xia's Haijin spoke softly, Li Yuan." Before the words were spoken, the next moment, there was a warm and moist touch on her cheek, and it was Li Yuan's kiss on the cheek like a dragonfly. Xia's Haijin was so embarrassed that she could hardly speak. Suddenly, her body was hugged by a strong arm, and she lay on her side on the sofa, staring at Li Yuan's head with big eyes. "Print it for yourself." When Li Yuan's lips kissed Xia's Haijin's red lips, Xia's Haijin's head was stunned. His body seemed to be frozen, but he just opened his eyes and looked at Li Yuan, with all kinds of tastes and emotions in his eyes. This moment seems as short as an instant, and as long as a lifetime. When Li Yuan's hands began to wander restlessly on Xia's Haijin's body, Li Yuan's mouth suddenly hurt. He opened his eyes. When he looked at Xia's Haijin again, she saw a string of tears in her eyes. Li Yuan finally came to his senses and quickly apologized, "Haijin, I'm sorry." Xia's Haijin didn't answer, turned her head away without saying a word, unwilling to look at Li Yuan, and shed tears silently. Such a scene broke Li Yuan's heart. "Haijin, I'm sorry, I was a little impulsive just now." Li Yuan felt a little regretful in his heart. He had indeed been impulsive just now. They had only known each other for a short time, but they had just succeeded in holding hands. They just needed to do it step by step. But after he was really alone with Xia's Haijin, he couldn't help but forcefully kissed her. A pair of devil's claws actually have their own ideas. Xia's Haijin just cried silently, biting her lips, not knowing what she was thinking. Li Yuan was half hugging Xia's Haijin like this, and time seemed to freeze. He kept apologizing, but Xia's Haijin had no answer. Li Yuan was shocked in his heart, but he must not let this ideal treasure girl become a stranger to him because of his rudeness. After a long time, Xia's Haijin's tears stopped. Her eyes were red and still sparkling with tears. She looked at Li Yuan softly and said shyly, Li Yuan, can you let me go?" Li Yuan took out the arm holding Xia's Haijin and continued to apologize. Haijin, I'm sorry, you are so beautiful, I can't help myself. Xia's Haijin's face turned red with embarrassment. She quickly covered Li Yuan's mouth with her hands and stared at him shyly. Stop talking. Seeing Xia's Haijin's shy look, Li Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. Xia's Haijin must have a good impression of him and even like him. Otherwise, she would not be willing to follow him home to cook. Although I was a little too hasty and wanted to eat hot tofu impatiently, I was still half successful. Li Yuan held Xia's Haijin's little hand in his palm and vowed, Haijin, don't worry, I will definitely be responsible for you. Xia's Haijin lowered her head shyly, her heart beating wildly. She never thought that she would already be like this when she just entered college and before she officially started her study career. Well, Li Yuan, I believe you. Xia's Haijin's voice was soft and low. After saying this, she immediately lowered her head. This took all the courage in her life. As a little girl who came out of a remote mountainous area, for the first time, she opened her arms and actively embraced the world. Li Yuan held her hand and felt that it would be nice to be still at this moment. Li Yuan stared at Xia's Haijin's face and said softly and affectionately, Haijin, tell me your past story. I want to know your past and everything about you. Xia's Haijin's eyes met Li Yuan's, and she lowered her head shyly. What do you want to know? Li Yuan smiled and said, let's get to know your family. I feel that your past life was very exciting. Get to know more about it so that you can better integrate into it during the Chinese New Year. Xia's Haijin looked at Li Yuan blankly and asked softly, Li Yuan, are you going to my house? Li Yuan smiled and touched Xia's Haijin's head, then do you want me to go? I don't know, Xia's Haijin shook her head shyly. She was afraid that Li Yuan would misunderstand, so she explained cautiously, I'm a little scared. Our relationship is a little too fast. I'm afraid that grandma will be worried. Li Yuan smiled. This was normal. He and Xia's Haijin had only known each other for only half a month. Although they liked each other, they definitely hadn't reached the point of meeting their parents. Haijin, the days are long. Our college life has just begun. There is still a long way to go. We can have a long time to get to know each other. I believe that one day, I can go to your home with you. Meet your grandma. Haijin, you said you live with your grandmother. I would like to ask, where are your uncle and aunt? Would you like to share with me your previous life? Xia's Haijin said softly and looked at Li Yuan, feeling a little nervous. She was afraid that Li Yuan would want to stay away from her after hearing about her family's situation. My parents, when I was 10 years old, encountered a landslide when I went out to work, and they died. My brother and I were picked up by my grandmother, and we have been living in my grandmother's house. Xia's Haijin spoke with a whimper in her voice and a trace of tears falling from the corners of her eyes. Li Yuan was shocked and looked at the treasured girl in front of him. Her experience was indeed very unfortunate. She lost her parents when she was only 10 years old. Compared with her, what were the setbacks she encountered in her previous life?